student teaching went really well, and definitely a lot of growth and a lot of learning on my part. So it started off with Sunday when Mrs. Beer, I, and the students, we all went to the State Legislative Leadership Conference. This was my first time actually preparing for the conference and doing all the registration and checking students in and being the advisor and making sure that everybody had what they needed and were where they needed to be when they needed to be there. And so logistically I was like, okay, I'm not just responsible for myself, I'm responsible for myself plus 4 other students. Also making sure that I share with Mrs. Beer what I told the students. Sometimes I forgot that. Mrs. Beer's like, what time are we going to be here? And I had to go back and correct her and realize that, oops, I didn't tell her. Or I had to make sure to tell her what shirt to wear because sometimes if the kids changed their mind, I needed to make sure that she was on the same page too. So having more responsibility, I think that was good for my growth as a person. Also, while I was there, I got to participate in proficiency judging contests and just learn how that system works. And I think that will be helpful for when I have my own program and work on teaching that way. In addition, at SLC, the students had some fantastic workshops, and so did the teachers. But we all had the opportunity to participate in community service. And our group, our busload of students, we went to a firehouse and worked on just cleaning it up and making things look nice. So that was good. Tuesday afterwards, after the conference was finished and we had breakfast with the legislators, Tuesday we went to an alpaca farm that I helped to plan the trip for. And while we were there, we got to learn the history of alpacas and why they are important. And I think there was a quote saying there is no animal that's higher to the heavens than the alpaca. And that's pretty cool and also very accurate. They can be in extremely, extremely high altitudes, which is impressive. And I just didn't realize that alpacas could be so fascinating, and they are. Then we went back to the school. While we were back at the school, I had the opportunity to meet with a substitute who was teaching my classes the past 2 days, and who is also going to fill in for me next Friday. And she shared with me that all my classes were great. The 4th period, or 4th block, was so well that you could hear a pin drop because they were so into their projects. And as a teacher, I'm like, yes, it worked. They're learning. So I was really excited about that. But she said 1st block, my ag mechanics class, also my favorite class, even though you're not technically supposed to have favorites, just like you're not supposed to have a favorite child. And anyway, this class caused her a lot of problems. She said that the students were bullying each other and they were just really rude. She said one student felt scared to leave our classroom at the end of the block. I was appalled. I was disgusted and I was angered. And I was also shocked. I was like, what? My students did that? What? So I talked with her and discussed possible punishments and things. And Wednesday morning, I had the students write an apology letter to the substitute because she'll be filling in for me next Friday. So I had them write her apology letters. I'm also going to have the substitute grade these apology letters because she was there and she knows more of what happened. So what else did I do? I gave them work to do from the textbook, and we discussed this, and it was relevant to what we were doing in the shop. And while I did that, I pulled students outside and talked with them individually about what happened. But then, when I did that, the students would snicker, and they would make comments, and they were just kind of treated things like it was a joke. So I'm like, okay, this is not good. Finally, the class let out, and they left. And I was like, whew, goodbye. But we didn't go into the shop at all that day. So I'm like, what do I do for Thursday? Wednesday evening, I went to an advisory board meeting at Chambersburg High School, and it was cool to see how advisory boards meet and work together. But while I was there, I asked one of the mechanics teachers there, I was like, what would you do? So I listened to feedback, and I discussed this over with several teachers. I'm like, what can I do about my students? How do I get them back on track? Because they were wonderful for me before I left for the State Legislative Leadership Conference. So Thursday morning in class, walked in, and I took attendance. I said that I was very disappointed in them, and I gave them this heart-to-heart talk. And then I also said, you guys have the power to get into the shop. And it's like yesterday I tried to give you resources. I tried to be nice. I tried to be like, look, you just have to behave and we can get in the shop. But you didn't get it. So I broke it down for them. The very first thing that I did for the interest approach is I had the students look at how many days were left in the semester. 9 potential shop days, because Mrs. Beer and I won't be there one day. And I was like, you have 3 projects. I had students restate what those projects were to remind everybody. I was like, how are you going to budget your time to make sure all 9 projects are completed? So I had students write this out. Then I did a leadership PowerPoint with them. This PowerPoint has, I believe it's titled like life skills. So like leadership and life skills, and I had, the PowerPoint had over 150 slides in it, and I told the students, I was like, you don't have to take notes, but at the end of each section is a quiz and you have to answer them. It's multiple choice, so it's fairly simple. And I shared with them after 2 sections, and they looked bored out of their mind. I was like, you're in the classroom, and whenever I can trust you to go in the shop, we'll see how you work. But I was like, and if not, you know your option. We can do this for the rest of the 9 days, and you can get poor grades on your projects in the shop. And I think all that worked. The students were fine after that. At 30 minutes at the end of the block, 30 minutes we went into the shop, so they worked for 20, and then they told each other to clean up at the 10-minute bell, and they were wonderful. So I think progress was made, and I think it was good practice for me to have to put on my tough skin and be mean and kind of lay down the law and be like, hey, I don't appreciate what you did. I know you can do better, so step it up. And it was challenging for me to not be so nice, but I think it worked. So I'm excited to see, sort of start Monday as a clean slate, a new weekend, see how things work out. I think it'll be good. As for the rest of the week, everything went well. And let's see, yesterday actually, on Friday, I went to visit Elizabethtown High School and Miss Brianna Keno, and to see her program and to observe her teaching style. And it's very clear she has a positive relationship with her students, and it was just a successful visit there. So this week was good. A lot of growth. I learned how to be mean, and I'm excited to see next week. Hopefully a lot more progress will be made. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this beautiful day. Bye.